Hi, I'm Nikisha and this is Nikki T Workshop. Today we're going to talk about pin buttons and how to make them. So earlier this year I made some pin buttons for my father's funeral, and which is the whole reason why I bought them in the first place. So I made about, I want to say 110 pin buttons. And out of 110, these are the ones that, I don't want to turn it face up because my photo picture's on there, but these are the ones that were not successful. So out of around, like I said, 110, about 24, 25 of them did not go well. They, as you can see from this one, it didn't stick. So, and it varies. Because it's the first time I'm doing this, I want to say it's user error. This is a much better rate of ones that were good versus the other machine that I tried in the past. So, which is why I kept this one and kept going with it. So, I'm going to show you the process I took to figure out, to an extent, how to make them, how to determine the size and where to place the design. And we're gonna walk through the process. All right, let's get into it. So the one that I bought, it came with 2 sizes. So you can get 3 sizes depending on the pin button package that you order. It was the one, that's my printer. So I made my father pins out of the 58 millimeters. But it also came with the 58 and the 32. So this is the smallest I think that's out there, or one of the smaller ones. And then the 58, it's not the largest. I think it can go bigger. But I went with the 58 millimeters, and there's a 32. For, like I said, for my father, for my father's pins, I did the 58, the larger ones and the smaller one. So what I did, and I left the ruler upstairs. Oh no, I got a ruler. So what I did, when you ordered them, they come with the plain paper backing and also the clear film that goes on top. That's why this this plastic film, it goes on top to protect your design underneath. So it will come with the clear film, the paper backing. It comes with a metal backing or cover that the film or your design go on top, and then the film goes on top of it. And then you have the option of a plastic or a metal backing. I opt for the plastic backing, which you'll see they include samples. So these are the samples that came with it. So once it finished, you have the plastic backing that's here. And then you have the design with the cover on top. This one. So it's the same with the smaller size. So you have the plastic backing with the pin snap, and then you have the cover on top. So what I did was I take this and then I measure it. I know the final design should be about 58 millimeters. This ruler is in centimeters, so yes, the final design is 58. However, if you notice, the design has to come around the ridge. So the cutout that they send is about 69 millimeters. So it's a 69 millimeter circle. So what I do is when I design, if you're gonna cut this on a like a Cricut, or if you're gonna cut this on a Cricut or like a Silhouette Cameo or a Brother machine, to cut it exactly how they have it here, you'd have to cut 69 millimeters, a 69 millimeter circle. The next thing I would do is I want to know how much of the design is going to be actually exposed. So I would take this, I'll fold it in half so I could find the center. Center of the center. And then what I would do is make marks on it. So if I would have a pen ready. Pen or pencil, I would make marks on it. So starting from the center out, I would count every 10 millimeters. So what I'm showing you, it'll be like a first time, one time setup thing. So I advise once you finish, you save this pin that we're gonna make with the design. So you have an idea of how big your design is gonna look once you finish making your pin. So, and then I have the center. So every 10, I said 10 millimeters. So I know what it is. So this basically what I did from before when I was doing up my dad's template. So the reason why you see this like a clock is that I noticed in order to line up the pin, when you press it in the machine, it has a way of turning a little bit. So the way you put it in dead center is not the way it's gonna print once you put the backing onto it. And I'll show you what I mean once we get into that part. Okay, I made 2 of them in case I mess up one. Chances are I might mess up one. All right, so we have 1 paper, 1 cover, and 1 backing. So we're gonna need 1 of the clear film to go on top. I already have the 58 millimeter fixture installed. You have to make sure that you're using 1 film at a time. They're really thin, and they're really thin, so you have to make sure you're taking out 1. So you put the cover plate in first. We have our film. So I'm lining up mine to the right of that mark. And then we put the, yeah, that's how you do it. Brain fart. So we're gonna slide this over and press. So when we put the next one in, you're gonna see that little notch. You're gonna move it a little bit so it turns there. So you want to do it where it lines up with these holes on top, and then and that's where I messed up. I did not put the backing plate in, so I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, it's still good. Silly me, forget to put the backing plate in. So here we go again. It might not work. No, I'm gonna do a new film since I messed this up. See, accidents happen. That was my fault, of course. Use an arrow. All right, make sure it's 1 film. So let's do this again. It's there. Press down. Put the plate in. I'm going to tilt this a little bit. Slide it over. I think I went the other way. I should have went the other way. And then put that in. Okay, so yeah, I went too far. So I'd put the back end where it was that way. I should have put it where it was this way. So now I made it too far over. See? I went too far over. So it's not gonna line up for sure. So here's the top. And that's far misaligned it was because of how I put the back end in. See. Now, if you remember, on the sheet we had 1, 2, 3 marks. And if you look where it lands, so 1, 2, 3. So a little below the 30 millimeter mark, that's where your design ends, that it shows on top. See, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's why I said it's good to mark it so you have an idea. See the 30 millimeter mark, 1, 10, 20, 30. The 30 millimeter mark is actually on the curve, on the edge. You can see here. And they're all like that. See, about the 30s off. So you know your full design would have to be 30 millimeters circle to cover if you want to do the full plate. And that's why I say it's good to have the marks so you have an idea. This is off center a little bit, so keep that in mind. So yeah. So now I know how big my design to be to fit on here. So you're not gonna do the full 60, but I said it was 69. So that's another gauge. So I want to do another one because then I need to line up. Oh, here you go. I want to line up the plates. 1, 2, 3. We need a back end. We need a cover sheet. So let's do this again with a light died. See, equipment issues. Let's see. I need to charge that other light. Okay. So here we go again. So we're gonna do the second one. So we have the plate that goes in. All right, plate goes in. We have our paper. Line it up to the right of the mark here. We have our film. So go over and press that on. So I have the backing plate. And so the backing plate is gonna go in. So like I said, I had it this way and it was too far off. So I'm gonna put it this way where it's a little to the left of the mark here. So I screwed it over a little bit. So you want to adjust enough where that lines up with a circle, a peg hole. And a clip. And then, see, this one lines up a little better. So here's the center mark that we had lined up. And here's the backing plate. So see, it lines up a lot better than it did the first time. So center mark. And then here we go, the center mark. I'll show here, center mark. See, it lines up a lot better. Yeah. Nope, oops, I did it wrong. So center mark. So first one, way off. This one's a lot closer. This I'm happy with. And then again, see, 1, 2, 3 is off the edge, 1, 2, 3 off the edge. So that's one way. And then you just save these so you can remember what your design has to be. All right. Now, this I haven't tried out. So in the kit that I bought, it came with 2 cutters that you can cut yourself out of your own paper. So we have the small one for the 32 millimeters and the large one for the 58 millimeter. So what is this, you ask? Right, I have some paper here. So, oops. Please be careful. So here we have a spare blade. On here. So this needs to slide down. Here's the extra blade. So this is supposed to be able to cut out these same circles here. This is a cutting mat to make sure the surface that you're using is good for cutting mats. And you're not cutting up your nice table. Yeah, don't like you can adjust the height of the blade either. So let's try this out. Where's the cut angle? Let's see. Yeah. Oh, it was cutting. Alright, that's gonna be off. So there you go. So that should be about the same as this. Yeah, that's about the same as this there. So that's how you use that. Like I said, please be careful when you're using it. So let's do another one just to show you again. So find center of your design. You hold on the top part and then you cut in a circle. You need to do even pressure. So let's put this back. And then stick the blade back on there. So it's good that they gave you a spare blade. So it's all back in there. Let's put it back in the housing. Okay, and that's how you use those. For fun. Let's see if it. This is cardstock, but I think it's like a 60 cardstock. So I think some people use like hole punches that are that size. If you could find them. So instead of using that cutter, you could get a ready-made hole punch to the size that you need, so you can just punch the holes. I did this wrong, didn't I? Hold on. Okay, the pin came out. I don't think I put the plate in there, so I'm trying to take it back out. and I didn't put the plate in there. So put the cover in. Don't forget the cover. Let's put that in there. One film. So the cardstock is heavier than the paper that they gave. So let's see how this is gonna come out. Let's put the back end in there. And here we go. See? Press fine. And if you're keeping track, I did 4 attempts. Of course, the first one I messed up because I forgot the backing plate in there. But still, I was able to reuse the paper, not the film. I didn't want to chance it with the film. So that was 3 attempts. 4 attempts, my arrow. But 3 times I did this and I didn't have any failed one. So this is a pretty decent one. So, and see the top, it's a little off, a little bit, but I'm still good with it. Or you could still pin it on. I'm gonna show you something quick. So, one trick that I've learned when I was doing 100 of these, sometimes when you put the plate in, I don't know if this is correct. So this is a sticker that I have. It's an old sticker. Use it as an example. And put this kind of dead center. Alright. So we have the design. What I did was, this is, see, I was about to do it again. So this is a cover plate. What I do, I take this glue and then I mark it in the middle. So what it does, when I put in the paper on, depending on the type of paper, it doesn't move or static lift up, and it shifts a little bit while it's in here. So what I do is put a little glue on there. You could put it in here so you don't mess it up, the alignment. See, I put it on there. I put this down, and what it does, it keeps that paper in place. And then I put this on top. So when I come over, do that, it stays in place and it's not lifting up. Put this in, off a little bit that way. It's a little bit. Then we do that over. Clamp that in. And then it still works. This give a little bit because the sticker that I use is thick. So you might see a little thing here because the sticker is thick. You could feel, if you could tell, I could feel the sticker on there because that's really thick. But it still managed to snap in place. So let's see where, if you could see, there's a little texture here. And it looked like it's not gonna do because there's a little give, but it's in there. It did its thing. See, still lined up pretty good. Not bad, not dead center, but I think I could still pin that on. So there you go. Okay, so that's quick tips how to make the pin button. So let me know if you have any questions. Oh, I'll show you on the next round how to set up in Cricut and in Silhouette yeah, Silhouette Studio, how to make these designs so that you can have it lined up in center. I'll do that next, okay? All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below to see more videos. I'm planning to roll out some more. So see you guys soon. Thanks, bye.